Arsenal fans, I come in peace. We do need to speak about Viktor Gyökeres. Obviously, no scapegoating. We're not making out all is him. This is a safe place. I just want to have some conversation around Gyökeres because let's be brutally honest, it's not going to plan for our summer signing. I mean, when you look at the Gyökeres, we can give him some luxuries. The initial bedding in period, he had no preseason. He had to get a lot of minutes in the legs. You have to adapt to the league and the intensity and the new team and the dynamics. Again, recently he's coming back from another injury. And to be fair to him, the whole team is struggling from an attacking functional period or point of call. As a collective unit in an attacking sense, we're not excelling. That is something we haven't necessarily learned this season. That's something, that Mikel Arteta has had over his head last season. And despite Arsenal getting better and better, when you look at it, people, our attacking numbers are actually getting worse and worse individually. We're becoming probably a bit too systemic and probably relying on too many probabilities to win a football match. So, the system will create 10 chances, someone will take one. And, I like that we have to keep balance, but football is about the individuals and we do need to excel. And a part of me does feel, regardless of what you think about Viktor Gyökeres or a couple of our other players, if they were at other teams, you might be looking at them in a different light, people. When I look at Gyökeres, for me personally, so far, I see a useful squad tool, a tool in the box, but not the talismanic forward that we like. He works his socks off. He's a bulldozer of a striker, general play, link up play. He's never going to be the most blessed technically, but there's something in that regards. When we signed him, I thought, you know what, we're cool for Mikel Arteta to do things differently. He isn't the striker on paper that you'd imagine for Mikel Arteta's system. So, we're a bit in luck in that regards. But I don't see enough. I don't think it's all his fault, but I do think there are things Viktor Gyökeres has to answer for, man. He's a bulldozer. But I need more. I need you to be meaner. I need you to be more demanding. I need you, as almost impossible in this low block kind of system, to make your own luck because you have had opportunities. And I genuinely do think you are a bit too nice. As I said, he's a striker with limitations, but I don't think we're getting the best out of his limitations. He's got 4 goals in the Premier League at this moment in time. He's actually not that far off, excluding Haaland, the rest of the chasing pack, like Embuemo, for an example, with 6. When I look at Crystal Palace's Mateta or Erling Haaland, they're similar strikers. I'm not, Haaland's clearly the best of the best. Mateta at this moment in time is better than Gyökeres. Mateta didn't have an easy start to life in England. Oliver Glasner kind of changed his life. But what I mean by that is, they've got limitations. They're not going to be the Gabriel Jesus false nines involved in all phases of play. They've got a decent first touch. They're not the best technically, but they kind of, the limited skills they have, they play on it, innit? Get in behind, get some goal scoring opportunities, and Bob is your kind of uncle. Haaland is what Gyökeres has to aspire to, as all strikers. We all know the obvious. He's never going to be Haaland. Haaland's general plays improve, but Haaland's never going to be the best technically. But the runs in behind, the anticipation, the taking your chances, Haaland is world class at that. And if Pep Guardiola, who's similar to Arteta, kind of likes the false 9 strikers, if he can make it work with Haaland, then we can get more of a tune surely out of Gyökeres, people, in my opinion. There's broader attacking questions for Mikel Arteta to answer this season. You've got 4 players, in my opinion, who can play up front, but nobody is the one that you'll bet your hat on. Some might say Havertz, some might say Gabriel Jesus, some might say Mikel Merino, some might say Gyökeres. This is what I mean. Gyökeres, I'm with you to the end. I back you to the end. But at the moment, you just show me that you're a squad kind of player, a tool that we could utilize. You press well, you do work your socks off, you do drag players towards you and other players benefit. And I'm here for all of that. I recognize in today's day and age, you have to be able to affect the game without scoring goals. But we knew you could do that. We've got players who could do that. We just need the ball to go into the back of the net. So if those are the positives I'm talking about, then we haven't really gone anywhere to the point where you're hoping, Berta, do we have to shop for another striker on top of a left winger and maybe 2 central midfielders, people? As I said, if Gyökeres was in a couple of other sides in the Premier League, I think he would look a bit better. So it can't all be him. But at the end of the day, he's 27. We can't afford to fumble this. I do think, again, despite the fact that we spent 55 to 64 million, if everything's hit on him, I do think people make out that we spent 100 odd million. And I do think many people can consider the Portuguese league and the Premier League are very different. But we saw someone that's good at taking half chances, an instinctive striker, someone that, scores a lot of his goals in the box, doesn't really make his own goals, a service reliant striker, a scrappy striker. And I don't think we're playing to those kind of strengths, people. There's got to be something in him. He's won back-to-back Portuguese titles. He's won the Gerd Muller Trophy for Europe's top goal scorer. He's shown he can score goals for Sweden, obviously for Sporting, and it has to happen here. Now, the one thing I would say is if you look at the Wolves game, people, I think there was a moment Saka put the ball into the box and Gyökeres did get himself into that area, but he wasn't there quick enough. Again, these are the little things that I think are on Gyökeres. You have to adapt to the Premier League. You need to do things quicker, essentially, and get yourself on it. This is what I mean by make your own luck. But I do think no one is without faults. When you look at Gyökeres, and you look at tools, I do think the players, as Lundberg and Henry used to say, you have to know your teammates, and the Gaffer the same. It's a bit like Haaland. We all know if you cut off Haaland's supply line, you kind of kill Haaland. We've done that every time we beat City. But then you look in the first half, which generally was a poor attacking display from us all round, not just with Gyökeres. But Gyökeres had fewer touches, 5, and completed fewer passes than any other player in the first half against Wolves. You add that in with what I'm about to say now. Only 4 Arsenal players made a successful pass to Gyökeres in the first half. Nketiah, Saka, Zubimendi, and Timber all had one. Now, we've seen several other players go up front and obviously get the ball a bit more and things of that ilk. So again, are your teammates finding you? Do they trust you? Do you trust your teammates? Are you demanding enough? Is it a thing where it's Mikel Arteta's system and how we're getting the ball forward and going from side to side? Because at the end of the day, even if all of these things wasn't said, a striker's job in the Premier League is difficult. You look in the first half, it wasn't just Gyökeres. Strand Larsen of Wolves, they had the lowest touches of all players. So again, you're getting less chances, less touches, less chances. You need to be more clinical. And I think Mikel Arteta, the players, and obviously Viktor Gyökeres, as well as the fans, need to kind of understand that. And I know some people would sit here and say it wasn't Arteta's first choice, yada, yada, yada. All of this might be true. But at the end of the day, the players that are not here. Gyökeres is here. And at some point, there were some qualities that everybody in charge of Arsenal's recruitment team unanimously agreed that, yeah, we can get something out of Gyökeres. So it's got to work, people. For me, if it doesn't persist, I'm with Gyökeres to the end. You did everything to sign for this football club. I just see you as a squad player. I see you as someone that is in the rotation with a Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, Mikel Merino. And for me, it's not going to happen in Jan, but we need to find another striker, whoever that is, because we do need that talismanic figure. For Arsenal to go to the next level, we need players with inevitability. I know Trossard's form is out of this world, but it does feel like we're creeping back into that scenario where Bukayo Saka's kind of carrying it. He's the one you bet your hat on. The collective chance creation, but first off, Martinelli had some way he should have done better. Gyökeres, you had a couple. We'll get on to Gyökeres. I don't think they're hitting you early enough. I don't feel your teammates fully trust you. And we'll get on to Gyökeres, people. We'll get on to Gyökeres, man. Fuck it. Should we just do it? Should we just do it now? I was actually going to make a separate video about this, but should we just do it now? The first thing I would say, and we'll be here all day with Viktor Gyökeres. I can't speak for nobody else. I'm purely speaking for myself. They're going to behave like you're the only footballer that was out there and all of these kind of things. But for me, and I come in peace as Arsenal fans, Gyökeres, I was backing this in the summer, I was backing this. The move, the goals you scored. Again, the goals you scored, the way you did the whole talking points around signing for our football club, the whole drama with that. Again, the one thing I liked about you is you're not an Arsenal striker, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. You're a bulldozer. You're my bulldozer. I thought we was going to be doing this at least 10 times, 12 times by now this season. I thought surely. I knew we was buying a bulldozer. We weren't buying a pretty footballer. That was something I liked about that, because I do think Mikel Arteta gets too many of the players that fit his system. Gyökeres doesn't do that, so it does force you to change. We're claiming we want to be different, so we're doing different things. So I knew you weren't beautiful to watch on a football pitch, And I do think we're not finding you quick enough. Just when you was getting a bit of fluidity, you got injured. The very fact that that's 2 starts in a long period of time for you. All of these things, all of these luxuries I'll give you, And Arteta even says we need to hit you faster. But when I looked at you in the summer, I told people it's not going to be pretty, but it could be so ugly, it's beautiful. If you're looking for good football and all of that stuff, you've got Bukayo, you've got Jesus, you've got Trossard even, you've got Eze. He's not here for that. He's not here for that. It's so ugly, it's beautiful. Just bulldoze your way into getting goals. I'm seeing someone that looks a shadow of their former self, confidence-wise. And I don't want to see that. I know you've got a strong mentality. You've bounced back. You've proved doubters wrong all of the time. But I thought minimum you was going to be a limited savage in that box. That cool, you lot. If you're not hitting me the ball, hit the ball. Give me the ball quicker. I'm not seeing you demanding enough. I'm seeing you fighting and all that. But I think you're being. I keep saying this. I think you're being too kind. Now you have just signed for the football club. Whatever people say, you're like 6 months into a 4 or 5 year deal, assuming you fulfill that contract. I just need a bit more, man. I don't want to be that guy. And I'm not saying players don't want to find you and things, but they're looking for Marino a bit quicker. They're looking for several other players. So have you anyone that's played Sunday League? Have you earned their trust? Have you earned your teammates' trust? Not in training, in the matches. And if you ain't earned their trust, earned their respect, demand that ball. Demand that. Even if you miss a million chances, demand it again and again. Because I see Saka do it. I see Lewis Skelly do it. I see many a footballer do it at this football club. And even if worse comes to worse, Gyökeres, are you really telling me? And big up Kai Havertz and Marino. We're going to get onto the broader talking point in a sec. But if I'm Gyökeres or if I'm Kai Havertz and I'm Mikel Marino and we're looking at, or even Jesus, exclude Jesus for a sec, but those three, if I was any individual, do you think you can be the top dog when up front, when you compare your teammates? Probably. If you're Marino, you fancy it, you understand the system, you're doing your thing, people accept you for your limitations. When it's all said and done, Kai Havertz for the last couple of years has been our top goal scorer, or one of those, which is a problem in itself on one hand, but shows that there's strength and depth in another. Gyökeres, come on. Because again, we're not finding you quicker. And I do think your teammates benefit from you on a football pitch purely because you drag centre backs and you're selfless and all of that kind of stuff. And I hear that, and we all understand that is needed from a striker in today's day and age. When you look at the fewest touches on the football field, it's not just him, it's also the Wolves, Strad Larson, at least in that first 30 minutes. That's Haaland's probably up there. You look at the systemic football, inverted this and overcrowded midfield, your strikers are not really going to see the ball. So I can cut you these luxuries. And I can demand more from your teammates and Mikel Arteta. But at the same time, as someone that wants you to thrive, you knew what time it was signing for this football club. So you're doing all the other stuff, which is also my point. You're doing all the other stuff, but we have man that can do that. It's going to work out for you, Gyökeres, man. And I will say this as well. The one thing I would say, and again, I am praising you for your other things without the ball, but on the other hand, I know you can do that. I just want goals. When he comes off a football field, I saw it against Burnley. I did see it yesterday. In terms of managing game states, it's one of those that we need to find a way to do better because they're starting to creep forward. I think and again, one thing I liked about Arteta, and it's one where you wish you could be a fly on the wall, is the goal we conceded. He's very critical of the team. Like, why were you lot so deep? Is it because they're tired? Did they make I don't know the word, but an executive decision? They said, I know what the manager's saying, but we're knackered. The temperature of the game, Wolves are on this. I don't know, man. But yeah, man, Gyökeres is going to work out. But right now, I can't lie, it's a squad player thing. It's a squad player thing. You're not one of the first names on the team sheet. It's you, Jesus, Marino, Kai Havertz. It's whatever we need to kind of do. You haven't broken into the Declan Rice, Saliba, big up Saliba for finding Saka for the second goal, I believe. That kind of player bracket. So it's a squad player. So you, Kai, Marino, you lot that can play up front, you're just tools to help us along this journey of winning the Premier League. And worst comes to worst, Gyökeres, it's a squad player thing, man. We need to get in the market in the summer because it's nothing to do with you, Gyökeres, and we're still backing you. But I'm impatient in terms of certain things around my football club on a pitch. As much as I love youth development and you can hear my fair points and things like that. As much as I love that and all these things, I'm impatient, man. And I think I've earned that right. And you lot too to be impatient because we're very close to doing what we would like to do. So I don't really want to be on this persisting with things that are not working sort of thing. Because Gyökeres, you're my guy, but you're 27. It's not like you're 21. And hindsight's a wonderful thing, but Hugo Ekitike, we would have loved Isaac, but Hugo Ekitike is looking like the one in it. French striker, doing well, playing like doing his thing for Liverpool. Couple of the chances he takes, yeah, I'm thinking, that. But we need to find the next one. But I'm backing Gyökeres all the way, man. We've backed shitter footballers, man. Gyökeres, you're still my guy, but we just need a bit more. He's not alone, though. He's not alone.